Clubhouse. Is it Vincent's or Vincent?
Vincent's.
Vincent's Clubhouse. Oh, and then we have to figure out how you came up with the name and all the other good stuff. So we have tons of stuff to talk about. And we have Erica Flores and Eddie Long. And I wrote their names down so I won't forget.
Lang, L-E-N-G.
See?
You already forgot.
I already forgot. Lang. And I guess what? I wrote it down right. I just didn't look at it. Lang, Eddie Lang. And he's on the board of directors of Vincent's Clubhouse. And we're going to talk about that, what it's about, and all kinds of other good stuff. Oh, so you found my song for me? You know what? Who wants that boring, you are now listening to Dave Pastor J? Let me hear it, see if I like it. I probably. All right, I want to do that. Let's forget that. Let's forget that other thing about that lady named Pastor J. Okay. You ready?
So you want this for the whole show? Or just for the opening?
Maybe just the opening, because I'm going to talk about I'm off a sabbatical.
Okay.
And then we'll go into my regular stuff.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready. Welcome to Today with Pastor J. And yep, you guessed it, it is me. And I am so excited because I'm a walking, talking, living, breathing, moving miracle. I am off a sabbatical. And guess what? Oh my goodness, I'm so high strung. I don't even know what to do. Woo! 6 weeks of part-time. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't minister on my prayer line for 6 weeks. I didn't preach for Geraldine Ministries for 6 weeks. I did preach on behalf of another pastor at his church once. I did a couple of weddings and I traveled a lot and stayed home. In fact, I wanted to come back from my sabbatical because people kept texting me. After about 3 weeks, my church member was like, Pastor J, you ever coming back? But I didn't until I could actually sleep. I was so jealous my husband could sleep. My husband could sleep through anything, except if I'm upset. If I'm upset, my husband can rock me and hold me while he's sleeping and snoring. I hadn't figured that one out yet. But anyway, he has the ability to rest and sleep. And I wanted that so much and so desired it that until I got it, I didn't come back off my sabbatical. So I am proud to say I am well rested and energized. And I am so excited that my first guest after my sabbatical is Erica Flores with Vincent's Clubhouse. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I got to warn you, I did before we started rolling. I just don't know what I'm going to say or do because I'm super excited because I have had some rest for 6 weeks.
Good. We all need that rest.
We do. We really and truly do. And of course, we have a board member here, Eddie Lang.
Hello, Pastor J.
Hey, you guys are brave for being on the show after I've been well rested. My husband says he says I'm beyond the Energizer Bunny. He says the Energizer Bunny loses and dies out and I'm still going. That's what he says. So you guys are getting me after a sabbatical, but I'm very excited to have you here to talk about Vincent's Clubhouse, which is here in Flagler County. So Erica, let me ask you, what is Vincent's Clubhouse? How did it come about? And what's your association with it?
Okay, so Vincent's Clubhouse was formed in 2016. We're a not-for-profit, 501c3. Vincent is actually my son. He's my 15-year-old son. And how it all transpired is it was a sunny, regular summer afternoon, and Vincent had asked me if he could go to summer camp with his cousins. And he calls his cousins the kids. He's like, Ma, can I go to camp with the kids? And it really took me off guard because it was, probably more than midway through the summer. And he was staying home with my grandmother, or his grandmother, my mother. And he knew that his cousins were going to summer camp. But, thankfully, up until that point, he hadn't really mentioned anything about it. So it took me off guard and I didn't really know what to say. So I lied to him and I said to him, Vincent, I'm sorry, buddy, but the camp is filled up.
Okay, so why did you lie to your son to tell him that the camp was filled up?
Because I knew that there was no camps in our county that would be able to accommodate Vincent's special needs.
Ah.
So, and I was not ready to have that conversation with him at that particular point because of his age and everything. So I knew that there would not be a camp that would be able to accommodate him, unfortunately. And I thought about that conversation that him and I had in the kitchen long and hard. I prayed about it, thought about it, and I was like, this is we have to do something. We have to do something because I'm not the only parent having this conversation with
Mm-hmm.
my child. So that's when I came up with the idea to form Vincent's Clubhouse and create a summer camp experience for children with autism and other related disabilities.
And I'm going to tell you, it is much, much needed. Um, Prior to COVID, I always ran a free summer camp. You probably didn't know this about me.
I did not.
Well, one year, guess what happened? Over half my children were children with autism. And I was like, Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Really, what are you doing? But it was such a beautiful couple of years. People found out, you tell one, you tell another, and the next thing you know, over half your camp is full of students with autism. And I had to have a lot of hands. I had to have someone guarding the door because I had one that was a runner.
Yep.
They took off and would run down 100. I had one that was that had to guard different parts of the room. And so it took a lot of hands. But one of the things that I did was, outside of praying for them all, was I didn't want them to feel different. I didn't want them to feel like they were special. So I treated them all the same with the acknowledgement that some of them had, maybe some different things that they had to have. Some had to have headphones on because, they was having problems with audio or different. So I took those things into consideration. And I'm going to tell you, it was the Lord that did it. So the fact that you have a camp with nothing but special needs and children with autism, kudos to you. It's so needed. So, oh my goodness. I'm just so excited.
Well, it is. It's really needed. And like you said, there's a lot of components that go into
It's a
creating
lot.
something like this. There's the safety aspects. There's, you know, um, making sure, like you said, with the headphones that, that our children aren't placed in an overstimulating environment where they're not comfortable. Because, people are
I
their
had one
best
in a
selves.
helmet.
Yeah. Yeah. People are their best selves when they're comfortable. And
Yes.
that's our children as well. So, and we wanted it to be a good experience for them, so there's the learning component of the camp, there's the socialization. We use evidence-based practices when we are designing the curriculum for the camp. So it's a lot of fun, but it's based in, education. It's not just a free-for-all, I guess you could say. And there's a lot of socialization, and that's very challenging for children on the spectrum specifically. And one of the things that we really need to, as parents, we need to sort of the early intervention. That's something that's very, very important. So it gives us the opportunity to do that, especially getting ready to go back to school.
Oh,
It
yeah.
kind of gives us an opportunity to get those kids back to routine and structure, somewhat of structure before they go back to school. So it's a great program, and the kids love it. The parents
They
love it.
do love it.
Yeah.
They do. Eddie, so how did you get involved with Vincent's Clubhouse?
So, my son, who is now 7, has autism.
Okay.
And we found out when he was 3 years old, me and my wife. And my wife started looking for different organizations to kind of like a community to learn more about it. Because this was completely new. I have 3 other children, all just, they don't have autism. They're all just regular kids, just kind of hanging out. And Max, this was new to us, and we found Erica online, and we Vince's Clubhouse. We went to a Easter egg hunt that was geared to. It was one of our first events. It was geared toward the kids with autism and their families. Because let's face it, Town Center Easter egg hunt is a mad dash. And
It is
our
something
kids
else.
that have sensory issues would get real crazy about it. And that's how it started. And then I want to say it was after COVID. I actually contacted Erica because my company, my real estate company, we do a community event every year. And because of Max, my son Max with autism, my broker suggested, why don't we do something for autism? And I said, well, there's this group called from Vincent's Clubhouse here in Flagler County that they do, events, and they could use the money. They're looking to get a facility. They're looking to build and get stronger and do the camps. We did that first community event, and we raised $5,000 that
Oh,
first
wow.
year for Vincent's Clubhouse.
Wow.
We just recently did the second annual this June, and we raised $8,000.
Very nice.
Being a part of the Realtor Association and on the board, and I actually put a convention on We put a convention every year, and I was happened to be the committee chair. The committee voted to donate any residual money to Vincent Clubhouse. So Flagler County Association actually, we had $10,000 extra that we donated to Vincent Clubhouse. We really kind of hit the
That's
ground running.
wonderful.
It's incredible.
I mean,
It's
I
really
know,
incredible.
I can
because
imagine.
our camp is by donation only.
Right.
So, we don't charge
Yep,
fees.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
very inexpensive. Our social events are very, very inexpensive because families and children with disabilities, specifically autism, I mean, it's very, very hard for a lot of parents to find childcare, to have, parents who are, have always worked,
That's true.
had good livings. It's very difficult sometimes with
For schooling, for childcare,
yes.
being able to go to the grocery store. I mean,
Exactly.
the things that we take for granted. Families having to deal with an autistic child, it's completely different.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, sometimes that puts a financial hardship. So, we didn't ever want that to be a barrier at Vincent's Clubhouse. So, thankfully, with Next Home at the Beach, been able to raise funds to cover the cost of camp for the last 2 years and have leftover. We're very, very conscientious of the money that we spend because we want to be able to provide our programs for free or little or no cost or free or little cost to our families.
All right. Well, we've got to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Ready? Okay. We're going to go back in. See, I calmed down just a little tiny bit. Little tiny bit. Little tiny bit. You ready? Welcome back. Well, you blah, 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 blah. I thought I calmed down. Okay, we're ready again. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay, and we're talking about Vincent's Clubhouse with the founder, Erica Flores. And we have one of her board members here, Eddie Lang. I'm sure you have trained professionals. I didn't have that, Erica. Let me tell you, no. We had Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Jesus
yeah.
helps.
I'm gonna tell you.
He'll come
Jesus
through.
helps.
He'll come through. Our first camp,
'Cause
it
I'm
was
a-
Jesus.
it was
yeah,
Jesus.
it was Jesus.
Then you know.
And then
Yeah.
Jesus was like, "Look, let me connect you with some good people." Yeah.
It
so
was,
it was.
it was
yeah.
all about Jesus. So
Yeah.
it was Jesus. So much so, little Gabby, I'll never forget Gabby. Gabby had a feeding tube. She didn't speak. She was, school age and wore a diaper. And she was one of the first students that came to our camp, and because of her, and she loved pink, and my office was pink, and she would do that, and we would sing songs and do the hand motions and the things like that, and Gabby would just twirl around on the stage, and one of my assistants would come and just try to get her off the stage, and I said, no, just leave her, let her twirl, let her be Gabby, let her do her thing. And her mom would tell me that she couldn't get her to leave the house for anything. But when she knew it was time to go to camp, she was up and ready to go. So one particular day, I'm singing and doing hand motions because I think I'm cool like that. And Gabby just stands there and she looks at me. Now, I've never heard her speak. So I took the microphone and I put it to her mouth. And I said, all right, Gabby, amen. And she said, amen. I was done. Okay.
Yeah.
So the camp went from, singing little kitty songs and talking about Jesus and all that to I was in full-blown worship at this moment.
Yeah.
And was running around like a mad animal because of the goodness of the Lord. And the students, they just said, hey, we fitting right in. So they just ran around with me, and it was so great.
And what you basically felt what parents feel
Yes.
when we have nonverbal and we hear
Yes.
that first word or we hear that first sentence. Your
I
everything
was
drops.
done. I still think about it. I still have pictures and stuff comes up on Facebook, and I'm still in contact with her mom after all these years. But for her to tell me how impactful I was to her child's life and so many other children's life, I can't imagine because I'm doing it on, I was doing a little small scale. But you're a parent of someone with autism. That was not my case. I was just led by the Holy Spirit, and I'm sure you are as well. But you are offering something to the community, not just the parents, but to the community. It's a community need, and education. And and letting the community know what's going on and how it's going on, but also support for parents. So, what are some of the services that you provide, and how have Jesus connected you
He did.
after you
He
went
did.
the first year, kind of like I did?
Yeah, he did. And it has grown. It has grown. A lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of praying.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're right. The advocacy work is very, very near and dear to my heart. And exactly what you're talking about and referencing your experience
Yes.
is that we have this need. There's a need in all of county, in all of, everywhere, but specifically in Flagler County that, you know, um, for awareness and acceptance for, people with autism and disabilities. We had at the town center in April the first ever autism awareness festival Flagler County has ever seen.
Wow.
And we had a huge turnout. We had over 50 vendors that had come out that offered services. So it wasn't just Easter Seals was there. They were doing free autism screenings. We had local ABA therapists, speech therapists, occupational therapists, different community organizations because we need to be able to provide families with resources so they don't feel alone and they need to know where to start. So Vincent's Clubhouse is definitely about connecting people together. I had a parent say to me, we had a Valentine's Day dance at the community center in February, and it was her first event, and she had actually linked up with a mom that had been to our events before, and it was a dinner dance, and the kids were dancing, and we had Carrabba's that actually sponsored the dinner. It was wonderful.
Carrabba's is great. They've
Yes,
sponsored so many wonderful
they're
things for me.
wonderful.
They
Really
are.
are.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom had connected with me afterwards, and she said, um, my her oldest son started dancing kind of crazy and acting kind of up wild, and the mom said, the other mom that she had connected with said, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, they can be themselves here.
Yes.
And just something
Something
like
that's
that,
simple.
so
Mm-hmm.
impactful. And she said to me, this was the first time that I was able to take my son and my daughter out, and I wasn't afraid. I could relax and they could just be
Be
themselves
them.
and
And
have
that's,
fun.
be who they are.
Yes.
You mentioned Eddie, Easter egg hunt. You just mentioned the Valentine's dance. So, and there's a summer camp. So apparently there's things throughout
There's
the
throughout the
year.
year, yes.
Okay, so let's
We
get into
work
that.
on
Okay.
we have different divisions. Our children's division is we work on social events.
Okay.
We try and host at least monthly social events. It gives the children the
Wow.
opportunity
That's
to
a
come
lot.
together. And even if it's not something major, I mean, we'll do things. Sweet Melissa's has been wonderful to us as well. The ice
Hmm.
cream shop over in City Marketplace. We can host we have had elementary ice cream socials. We've
Okay.
had tea night at the bowling alley.
Very nice.
Yes, and all of our events are inclusive. So they're geared for children with autism and special needs, but it also has their neurotypical peers that come
Okay.
because we really need to create a society where it's not unusual to have someone on the spectrum in the workforce. We need to create a
That's correct.
society where
Mm-hmm.
everyone is included, and it's an inclusive environment, and we have some work to do here.
Right.
Um, so we have our social events in our children's division. We have our summer camp. Then we've just recently started our adult division, and that started out with the Beautiful Ladies Club. And beautiful is
Mm.
spelled BEYOUTIFUL.
Wow.
So it's the Beautiful Ladies Club, and that is for young ladies on the spectrum who are ages 21 and up. And the reason why we structured it that way is because what happens is after a student turns 22, they're basically cut off from, they leave whatever extended program that they are involved
Mm-hmm.
with in the school district. And a lot of their services and a lot of their socialization and a lot of, their whole lives change at the age of 22. So if they don't go into the workforce, which, people with disabilities, it's very challenging that in
Mm-hmm.
itself, um, their whole structure changes. So their whole life, the whole way that you know they're able to socialize and be around people.
Mm-hmm.
So and then women on the spectrum have a very, very different set of um, challenges than it shows very, very different than in boys and
Okay.
men. So with the Beautiful Ladies Club, it gave young women in our area the opportunity to connect together to create a social network. and we meet once a month at Sweet Melissa's. And then there's also breakout times. They've gone bowling together. They went to go see The Little Mermaid together.
Oh,
Different things.
wow.
Yeah, and it gives them the opportunity, to connect with each other, to talk about things that are they're going through, that peer support group.
Hmm.
And so that's part of what we do with the adults, and that was idea
That's
of,
huge.
yeah, it's amazing, and it's
Now, have
growing.
you gotten into maybe job skills and job placement and
That's
things
what we're
like that?
working on.
That's what you're working
we're
on.
working on.
Okay.
Yes, and that's part of our community work that we're definitely working on. I have done personally. I was part of the Partners in Policymaking program, which is through the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council, and participated in that. So we've, a lot of attended the Family Cafe. There's a lot of different avenues to be able to work with, to focus on. My particular passion myself is housing, transportation, education, recreation for people with autism and disabilities.
All right. Well, we've got to take another break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Doesn't it? How much time I have left? 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay. So I'm going to, when I come back in from the break, I'm going to ask you for contact information.
Okay,
Make sure you repeat your phone number twice,
got it.
3 times if, somewhere throughout the thing. And we'll mention it. I'll write it down and I'll mention it. And your website is?
VincentsClubhouse.org.
Okay. Okay. All right. You ready? Give a thank you and a shout out to Steve Verrier, the FloridaMortgageCenter.com, and to Church on the Rock for sponsoring the show. Thank you guys for keeping me on the radio. So, Vincent's Clubhouse, that's huge. And I know you're excited about it. I know parents have been coming along. I mean, Eddie, you're one of those parents,
I'm a
right?
parent, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a parent.
And how cool is this? And you have a board of how many members
do.
on your
There's
board?
5
There's
total.
5 people on your board. So
And
this
they're
is-
amazing. It's, a lot of not-for-profits will talk about challenges that they have with the board of directors, and I'm very, very blessed with a very engaged, engaged.
I mean, come
motivated,
on. They're the
brilliant board
parents
directors.
usually of
Yes,
autistic children. They have patience.
Yep. And
You
it's
don't
a
even
true,
know.
it's a true family-run organization.
It is.
It really is. 80%.
And everyone has the same goal in mind,
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
That is super cool. So what's some great contact information where?
So anyone can contact me on my phone number at 386-585-0926. Again, that is 386-585-0926, or email at erica@vincentsclubhouse.org.
Now, how do you spell your name? Because sometimes people.
ERICA.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
question.
Wanted to check.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
somebody have a K or something. And also you have a website, vincentsclubhouse.org.
Yes, ma'am. VincentsClubhouse.org.
So what's new? I mean, you mentioned something earlier during the break about getting a building and a location.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're doing a lot of fundraising activities to try and get a building. I believe that once we have, our own building, that'll open up a lot of different opportunities for us. And we need a place in Flagler County for families and children to be able to go.
Yes.
So we do monthly support groups. We partner with Flagler schools to do a monthly educational series.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be lots of other opportunities if we had our own building. So we're just going to keep working hard till the people in Flagler County
And
have
Eddie, you going to keep
a
supporting?
place.
Always. I'm going to keep supporting. And if anybody out there has a building that they want to
There you
donate some space or give us a good deal, we're always willing to check it out.
go. Hey,
Yeah.
you have not because you ask not.
That's right.
My husband's a handyman. We'll fix it up good.
You'll
I
fix- you'll
promise.
fix
Yeah,
it-
it
you'll
doesn't
fix it
matter what
up
it
real
looks like.
good.
We'll fix
Well,
it up.
I just want to thank you so much for your contribution to the community, because it is a need out there. You're meeting a need, and you're helping so many parents and students and children alike with what they're going through. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the community, because I've seen it. Like I said, I had nothing but Jesus helping me. I was
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, Lord, ooh." So you're an answer to my
It's-
prayer. Because you want to be able to give the best services
Yes.
to all students, to all
Absolutely.
kids, and when you don't feel equipped, like I was not equipped, I was like, I had to rely on the Holy Spirit, and he got me through. And then he look what he's done. He's birthed such a wonderful and beautiful vision through you, and you have a board of directors and family and community support here to make it go forth. So I'm just so excited.
Thank you.
Very, very
Thank
happy
you.
and
Thank you.
excited to see it come forth. Well, God bless you. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, you know what I say? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to go to vincentsclubhouse.org and you're going to click the donate button. That's what you're going to do. You're going to get involved. You're going to support. You're going to sow a seed. And if you need more information, you can call Erica at
386-585-0926.
All right, guys. Have a great and blessed day.